guys, I hope you're all well. So today I'm doing a video all about my accident and my time in hospital. Now I've been a bit reluctant to do this because it's obviously quite a stressful topic for me, and I've written all about it in my book. So I mean, if you haven't read my book and you didn't know there was a book, if you want more in-depth detail, then it's called My Beautiful Struggle, which you can get on Amazon, Waterstones, W.H. Smith's. Yeah, it's called My Beautiful Struggle, so check that out if you haven't read it already. Because I'll tell you bits today, but obviously I won't be able to share it all because I'm just going to say what comes out of my mouth. But in here there's a lot of information, and there's also more stuff about my life, so if you're intrigued then check out my book, please. I hope you like it anyway. So yeah, a lot of you have requested that I talk about the accident and my time in hospital, and my throat made a funny noise then. I don't even know where to start. So it happened on the 7th of May. I never got in cars with boys. I wasn't that sort of girl. I don't even know what that means, but I just never got in cars with boys. But I did this one time, and it was the biggest mistake of my life because it changed my life, and not in a good way. It changed my life. I made my life harder for myself by getting into this car. So I was 15 years old, and I got into a car with a newly qualified driver. He was 17, and my friend and the guy's brother, and we were driving along the road like 5 minutes, and we got to a junction, and I remember thinking, oh, just go left, because if he went left it would loop around the town, kind of like back to where I live kind of thing. But he didn't. He went straight over, and he went down like, it started to then become a bit more of a country sort of lane. And earlier that day it had been raining, and then it was sunny, and then it was raining again. Well, at this point it wasn't raining, but the roads were really wet. And as we got to like the more country-ish type road, there was a big dip in the road, and the guy sped through it, and the car aquaplaned across the road. The driver took his hands off the steering wheel. He didn't obviously have enough knowledge on how to deal with the situation, and the car, I then reached for my friend's hand and thought, I'm dead, and the car then overturned and landed upside down in a ditch. When I talk about it, it just feels like I'm talking about a dream, or about, well, a nightmare, or about someone else's life. Like, it's crazy to think that this happened to me. As I woke up, because I was knocked out instantly, as soon as the car flipped, I was knocked out. As soon as I woke up, I couldn't feel my body. And I just was like, I'm paralysed. Like, that's it, I'm paralysed. I remember asking someone to, because I woke up and there was no one else in the car. Like, I was like, where the hell is everyone? Everyone was out of the car. And I just then remember asking someone to undo the seatbelt, because I was technically hanging from my seatbelt. I was upside down in the car, and my stomach was on the roof of the car, so I was all twisted up in this seatbelt. And so I asked someone to undo it, and then my body just slumped to the ground, like the roof, and I just really couldn't feel anything. So I could hardly breathe. And at that point I sort of said, bring an ambulance, bring my mum. I don't know why I had to say that, like, it's a bit crazy to me. But anyway, I then had to be cut out of the car. I was going in and out of consciousness. I think you guys probably know this bit, but I'll just say it anyway. I was going in and out of consciousness, and I saw like this big white light, and I don't know if it was me dying, but I really honestly felt like I was dying, and I was going in my head, no, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. And then after that, to keep myself conscious, I kept trying to sing, and I was singing You've Got the Love. I wasn't properly singing it, I was probably just going, you know, because I could hardly breathe. But I honestly felt like I had a bit of a decision to make, because I really felt like if I would have just relaxed, I could have died quite easily, because I could barely breathe, and I just saw this white light. It was so weird. So then the fire engine came, the ambulance came, and I had to be cut out of the car. A few hours went by, and I was then taken in an ambulance to the intensive care unit, and during that time I then had to have a metal halo drilled into my skull and the sides of my hair shaved off. The doctors did say to my mum that I'd have to have all my hair shaved off, but she pleaded with them that I could just have where the halo was going to go. So the halo goes here, here, and then at the back. So yeah. So I then spent 5 days in intensive care at my local hospital. It was really scary. Apparently my body swelled up, like it doubled in size because of the shock. But it was really scary because my injury was so complex. The doctors in my local hospital, as lovely as they were, they didn't really know what to do. And I remember my mum being so concerned because there was someone at the end of my bed with a textbook on how to move me. But everyone was lovely. Not that I can remember much, to be honest, but I can't remember too much off the top of my head. I then had to be airlifted to Sheffield Spinal Unit, and I was there from May until October in 2005. So I then had to lay flat, like completely flat, for a month, and I had to be rolled over every few hours. And I had to take loads of medication for the pain, the agonising pain. I remember wheeling into that hospital and they thought my hair was red because I had so much blood in it. It was a difficult time, and it felt like a real testing time, being the age of 15 and having to lay there. I couldn't move at all. I couldn't even really move my arms. I remember once, a bit later on in my spinal hospital, I kind of got to here. I moved my arm like that, and I just went. I flopped myself right in the neck, right where I just had an operation. That was agonising. But yeah, I had to stay on my back, flat, with no pillow, nothing, for 1 month. And I was in this like room where it was kind of like it was a room where there was another person in it too. It wasn't a massive ward, but like it was a 2-person room kind of thing. And not that I could see anything because I was dead flat, so I could only see the ceiling. And there was this like, it was so like dingy, like the TV. It was tiny. So all I could do all day was watch this tiny crappy telly. And because this was a long time ago now, it's like 12 years ago, so it wasn't like these nice little flat screens they have now. But I just remember it was just a real testing time, because a month lay flat on your back when you're just wishing for each day to be over because you could just wait for the next day because you think something will improve is really, really tough. And you know, I feel like I've dealt with that. I can deal with anything. So I then had an operation which was a 6-hour operation because my injury was more complex than I thought. Actually, before the operation, I thought I was having the operation. I went down to have it. I was like, you know, ready to go, and they cancelled it. And it was really traumatic. It was awful because we just wanted this day to be over, the operation to be over, because it's such a big operation, and obviously there's risk of death. There was risk of that I would lose my voice because they had to go through, like, past my vocal cords, because they had to go in the front of my neck and the back. So that was one reason I think they couldn't do the operation. I think because they had to go in the front and the back of my neck, and they weren't aware of that. But I broke both sides. I damaged both sides, so that it needed stabilising both sides. It's really hard talking about this. So I had to go back to the ward, and then I went back to have the operation sometime later, like another day. And so I was out 6 hours. They got bones from my hips, like they shaved some of my bone away to put in my neck, and they also put metal rods in the back of my neck. So I've got quite a big scar at the back of my neck and a little one at the front. So my injury is C6 complete. I am that. I don't have any movement below that. But yeah, the time in hospital was difficult, and I was so lucky to have my mum with me. Like, my mum stayed until the August, and then she, like, as I got in my wheelchair, I told her to go home. Well, I didn't tell her to go home. She decided, you know, it was time to go home, because my sister was only 3 years old at the time, or maybe 4. Oh, I'm losing track. She was 3 when it happened, I think, then she was 4. Like, she was 4, like, 10 days after my accident. I'm not going to go too much detail into all of this because it's all in my book and I don't want to ruin it for anyone who wants to read my book, but it was a very testing time, and a lot of you have asked me how I dealt with that, and in all honesty I was really, really ignorant. I really believed that when I left hospital I would be better. I didn't realise I'd need help. I didn't realise I'd need people to help me with everything that I do in my life. I didn't think that. I think because when you're in hospital you're ill, so when you leave you'll be better. So I just thought I'd need a wheelchair. There's so much more to it than just needing a wheelchair. That is like the least of my problems, honestly. You have to worry about so many things, and there's so many aspects of my life that are different to someone who doesn't need all this help or who isn't paralysed. You know, I ended up spending like nearly 6 months in hospital. I don't know, the whole experience being in hospital was so strange because I remember the first day of getting into my wheelchair and I was so excited for it. And they wheeled in this big, massive chair. It was hideous. It looked like Frankenstein's chair, is what we called it. And I got in it and my body flopped like a rag doll. And even though it came up to here, it was like this massive chunky thing. Even though it came up behind my head, I still had to tip the chair back and lean on my mum because I could not hold my body up. And I looked like my body just had gone so frail. And I just couldn't believe that it was me looking back at myself. When I saw myself in the mirror, I was just like, that doesn't even look like Jordan. Like, who is this girl? Like, I want to still be me, even if I have got this awful injury. So as time went on, oh, by the way, obviously in the operation they took the halo off. So I then, obviously, like I say, got in my chair. I'm so all over the place. It's really difficult for me to talk about. Not because I'm really strong about this, but I just find it's such a long time ago. I sort of remember things as I'm talking, so I'm like, ooh, so I'm sorry if I'm jumping. I should have wrote notes, but I like things like this to be authentic. And like I say, for more info, you can read my book. But this is just the gist of it, really. So, yeah, I couldn't really push myself or anything. But after time went on, I knew that I wanted to try my makeup because I just didn't look like me. And I remember this one time, this nurse, she put mascara on me and it felt like a little bit like me again. She used to wear loads of mascara and I was like, ah, it's amazing. So I remember one day I lost my food strap because when I first had my accident, like I used to wear like this little like food strap which you slot a fork into, so you can just go like that and stab food, put it in your mouth. But I didn't lose mine. This guy lost his, and his injury was a little bit worse than mine, so I think it was so nice. Like, I gave it to him. I gave him mine, and looking back, like, I know I'm the same person, but looking back, I think that's for a 15-year-old girl who's just lost everything, to then give one thing away that could help her. I'm so glad I did that. I think that's really nice of me. Like, because this guy was a grown man, and I gave him mine. I don't know why I thought I'd be okay, but I just thought I'm going to try using just a fork, so I did. And then I thought, you know, if I can use a fork, I can maybe put mascara on, at least. So that's how my story started with the makeup, I guess. And that was very testing. It wasn't like, oh, one day I woke up with just all my makeup on. It was a long testing, like, it was a long journey. But being in hospital wasn't easy. It was difficult and it was a long time, and I just couldn't wait to get home. So I said, can I come home for my 16th birthday, which is the 24th of October. So I came home a couple of days before that. I made my discharge then because I just wasn't really progressing with physio or OT because I wasn't interested. I just wanted to get home. In my head, I thought I'd be home for the 6 weeks summer holidays. Naive. But yeah, I didn't really realise how much of a big injury this was. After the operation, I then got my own private room, which was good. So that was a bit nicer. I had a bit more privacy. Not that has anything to do with it, but if you guys want to know about being in hospital, that was a lot better for me, just to be in my own little room. Couldn't be on like a massive ward with people because I was underage. It was really difficult after the operation actually because I was only 15 and I wasn't 16 until the October. I wasn't allowed a lot of morphine, so I was in absolutely excruciating pain, but I wasn't allowed the amount that I really needed, because of a few months later I would have been 16 and I would have been able to, so that was really difficult and really hard. Like for pain, that was tough, and looking back, I just can't believe I coped with it. But I just think that we can all cope with anything in life, like if we put our minds to it, like we have to. And I think people say, oh, how are you so strong? It's like, well, I have no other choice, and so I choose to be this way because otherwise I wouldn't really live my life. So you can either not be this way and just not and feel sorry for yourself and not do anything with your life, or just try and suck it up and get on with it, because what other choice do you have? I mean, there's loads of situations where people are like that, like people ask people why they're so strong, and it's like, what if I wasn't, what would my life be like if I wasn't? And how would my life be? It wouldn't be the same, because I wouldn't do anything, because I'd be just upset all the time. So if you're going through something really traumatic, just know that even if something doesn't change, like my injury won't change, but know that you still can have a life. Like, live for now, live for today, don't worry about what ifs. It's really easy to do, and it's different, for everyone has a different situation, but I just think if I don't know, it's hard to, it's when you're a certain way, it's hard to explain, but hospital was hard, for those wondering. I don't know if I've explained enough, but I feel that I haven't been very organised with this video. I haven't written it down. I could just read my book and read it to you, but I haven't. This is just what's come out of my heart today, and I hope you found that interesting. I don't know if it's anything that you didn't know before. If there's other things you want me to talk about, let me know, because I don't know if I'm actually answering the questions that you've asked me to. Put them in the comments below. I can make another video on another topic. So I just want to leave that there and just say to you that always know that you deserve the best in life and know your worth. We all have struggles, but never be ashamed of them, because those struggles help shape us into the people we are today. Like, I would go back in time and I wish this hadn't happened to me. But I'm not going to sit here and cry about it, because I want to live my life, and I know that you guys do too. So you don't want to be defined by a bad situation, but know that it probably has shaped you and made you a stronger person. But yeah, I hope you all have a great day. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you soon.